Sis, listen, if we're going to be completely honest, life has been lifing. Now, before I get into that, how are you, beautiful? How are you doing today? I hope at this very moment you are feeling peaceful, zen, calm, centered, empowered, and fulfilled. Okay, I pray that at this very moment that you're watching this video, you are feeling all those feels in your body, okay? And I say this also to myself because life has been lifing. And even though life has been lifing, see, it's in those moments where your yoga practice really comes in handy, okay? Because the way that I practice yoga, I don't practice yoga only as a physical practice on a mat. Yoga is a way of life. It's a way of being. Yoga is practice in the everyday, in every plane of existence, if you like, or in every, aspect of the self as a human being. Okay, so we're talking about on a mental level, physical level, spiritual level, emotional level, psychological level, the whole nine. It's holistic, right? So it's lived. Yoga is lived. Okay. And when, again, this is according to my way of doing yoga, if you will, the practices that we do, like when we consciously take a moment to do a yogic type practice, let it be conscious breathing, let it be on the mat doing the postures, let it be, introspection, all those practices, all those moments that you take to sit down and to intentionally do a practice, it's for practice, just like anything else, just for any field. Somebody is working on renovations on their back porch, okay, right now. Now this man had to learn how to use a hammer properly. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like, I'm not a builder, you know what I'm saying? But some tools he had to learn to use, and he probably practiced. Every time he did it, he got a little bit better, learned something different, a new way of, handling the power tool or whatever. And over time, the more he did it, now this man can just, flip his house by himself and in complete confidence in his skills and abilities to do that. Okay? At least as far as everything he's mastered over the years. Okay? All the skills that he's mastered over the years to do that type of work. So now he can do it like eyes closed. You know what I'm saying? And so yoga, I perceive it the same way. So when many moons ago, I started practicing pranayama, breathing techniques, okay? I would take time, sit down, take, 10, 15 minutes, and just practice, let's say, deep belly breathing. I would just practice, move on. Next day or 2 days later, come back to the practice, and so on and so forth. And over time, I see how that has helped me change my life, okay? Transform my life, all right? Because when I first started practicing yoga, but intentionally, because when I started, it was in school, in college, it was part of the program that I was in. So, and my mindset at 17 was completely different than, later on in life. So when I started doing it outside of college and intentionally, because of the things I was going through and the way that I felt inside my body, and I knew that, oh my God, if I don't change this, I'm fucked up, okay? And I can't rely on, my situation was, I was dealing with some beef with, a former group of friends that I had. And so I couldn't change those people to make me feel peaceful, right? So I knew that the power came back to me to change my own self. And that no matter what anybody is doing out there, I govern this temple. I am the empress sitting at the throne of this temple. This is my queendom. And I can consciously choose how I feel or how my energy is. Okay? At what vibration am I operating from? At what frequency? From which inner state? Okay? And pranayama definitely is the tool, the thing that completely changed my life. Okay, I was able to regulate, and I don't want to say mastery yet, but I'm definitely advanced as far as being able to, I don't like to say control, but to have, more control, more power over what's going on within myself, regardless of what's going on outside of myself. And of course, there are situations that are very extreme, like, a major loss type thing, There are some situations where, it'll rock you to your core, right? But that mid-tier of, life bullshit coming at you, I realized that, oh, okay, compared to maybe 5 years ago, maybe even a year ago, 10 years ago, today, the way that I manage the mid-tier level of bullshit that, life can throw at you, is much different. I am much, much more in a centered space and being able to keep my calm and stay grounded versus like 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, where I would just like lose my shit. You know what I mean? And so all this to say that life has been lifing lately, and I've been consciously doing the practices, okay, to help me stay centered. But now I feel like I am back. I don't want to say back in the same situation, but I'm in a similar space in my life where I'm at a crossroads. And the last time I was at this type of crossroads where it's not like this like major life change type of crossroads, but it definitely, whatever I decide to do will definitely change how I'm gonna maneuver through the next few months, okay? And so last time I felt I was at this type of crossroads, but it was a little more major than this, was when I decided to take my yoga teacher training. And I already spoke about that whole journey in and of itself. I have a series about that on my channel. I'll link it up here somewhere or put it in the description below if you feel like watching it. But the last time I was at that type of crossroads was either, during the pandemic, either keep that, solid job that I had with all the benefits, the good money, I had my apartment, my car, the whole nine, and I was blessed to have that because back then a lot of people lost their jobs, their businesses, etc. But I was set, right? No matter what was going on, I was set. So I had a choice, either that or jump into the unknown and become a yoga teacher when, yoga studios are shut down. And where am I going to teach? I wanted to travel. Where am I going to travel to? Because now they're talking about not allowing us to, travel and stuff. So I feel like I'm at that space, but less major. That was definitely a major change. But this right now still feels like, oh, okay, this is, okay, I gotta take a moment and really tune in, because this type of crossroads is where, you feel like you have to take a leap of faith. It's either you stay with what your mind says, your logical brain says, okay, well, this is, if you go down that path, we know exactly, what's on this path, at least as far as like the logistics of it all and what we're getting out of it. Like we know, we can calculate, we have dates, we have a calendar, we have a budget, we have this, we have that, like everything. We can look at it on a sheet of paper and be like, okay, we know exactly what we're getting into. And then there's the leap of faith where it's like the heart is telling me, well, you also have this path in front of you that you can choose. And we don't know exactly what's going to happen. You know, we can't just like grab a piece of paper and be like, oh, here's everything. All we know is that we are walking into the dark, guided by our inner light. Okay, literally, it's like walking into a dense forest at 1 a.m. During the new moon. That means the sky is dark. Okay, so your intuition, your heart will lead you forward. And yeah, this is where I'm finding myself right now at this very moment. And maybe when this whole, you know, situation or this phase that I'm in has, you know, I've taken the next step forward, maybe I'll talk about it more in detail. But for now, I'm just gonna, you know, keep it within me because I just want to make sure I'm fully tuned in. But it's just funny how I find myself in this position again after, you know, all the embodiment work that I've done, the inner work, and then allowing that to integrate, and then giving power to that new embodied version of myself to like really be at the forefront, to be behind the wheel with both hands on the wheel and like, okay, I'm moving forward as this version of myself. So this is literally, it's just funny how life was like, for real, girl? You for real about this? Okay, hold on. Good for you. Let's test it out. It almost feels like that. Like, let's test it out. Let's see what you're going to do. What you're going to choose. Because now we put you between a rock and a hard place. Let's see if you're going to move forward with, you know, as the former version of you who would make sure that, well, a former version. How can I say this? Because the former version of me also took leaps of faith, right? A major one at that. So it would be like, not necessarily former version of me, but like a former belief on how I should make my moves. You know, that's still there somewhere running in the background. And now with this new embodied version of myself, it's like, okay, well, how do I, now that I'm really facing something where it's like I said, it's not major, but it's still like, oh, okay, this is on the table and it's this has to be dealt with, you know? Am I going to make my moves as the new embodied version of myself, who definitely in this instance, I know she takes the leap of faith, but I find myself at that crossroads where it's like an old belief, a new belief, or I guess, you know, the transmuted version of it are facing each other. It's like, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Who she gonna choose? Well, let's find out. You know, I tell her to go this way. I tell her to go this way. So now what? And here I am in the middle. And me making this video and showing you that I'm actually going through this is really to just show you that even in the knowing of who I am, I still face those things. And being in a situation like the one that I'm in right now, I firmly believe that, okay, this is life giving me an opportunity to really anchor myself into the new embodied version. And it's like, if you're her, then you're going to choose as her. And choosing as her means taking that leap of faith. Even though it seems scary and you don't know what's going to happen. But this is also where your faith comes in. That's why a leap of faith. You know and you trust that if my heart is telling me to go in this direction, it's because my heart also knows that, oh, everything's going to work out. I already know everything's going to work out. Everything has already worked out. But when you're at that crossroads and it's time to make that decision, and it's an executive level type of decision, right? You know, you can't stop but feel the feels. And so how I've been personally managing all of this, because I have a small time frame where I can like play around with, okay, well, you know, what am I going to do? And even though my heart is like, we know exactly what to do, just do it. I still find myself in a position where I'm entertaining everything in my spirit. But I always come back to center. I come back to center. I come back to center. I come back to center. That's my practice right now. It's just always coming back to center. It's easy for me to flow with things when everything's all good. But once like something major shows up, this is when it's like, oh, you're on the battlefield now, soldier. You know what I mean? This is not a drill. This is for real. What you gonna do? And I say all this and it's like, well, I know what I'm gonna do. But I'm just dealing with the internal turmoil. And I have many, like I have stretches of moments throughout the day where I feel calm and centered. And I even let go of it. I let go. And I'm like, you know what? How do you say that in English? In French, I would say ça ne m'appartient plus. Like it doesn't belong to me anymore. Like this is not mine anymore. Like I put it out there. I let go. But then there are moments where it comes back and my mind starts, you know, doing a little two-step. Not even a two-step at this point. It feels more like it's, how do you call that dance? My God, I forget that the name of that type of dancing. Was it crunk? Anyways, like in the movie Stomp the Yard, the type of dancing that Chris Brown was doing. I think it was crunk. Anywho, but it's like okay? So I have these moments. I'm human. I can walk in faith. I can walk in knowing. And my gaze, my drishti, okay, like the focus of my gaze, drishti, like it's from it's a yogic, a term, Sanskrit term, but it's like a yogic practice of like keeping your eyes focused on one single point. I know where my drishti is. I see where I'm going, but now it's like something just came and like boop, like what do you mean? What's going on? Well, girl, we know we want to go there, but like, there are certain detours we have to take right now. It's like, are you going to go on the left detour, on the right detour? The left detour, you know exactly what streets to take. The right detour, it's like, we don't know exactly what's going to happen, but we know we're aiming to get to that same point, right? I'm human. I still experience those things, even in the whole knowing of who I am. And so that's what I wanted to share with you today, is that I am human and I'm going through these things, and it's not going to stop me from doing what I got to do. But I do know that there's this elephant in the room that absolutely needs to be addressed. And this is an opportunity for me to address it as the new embodied self. And if ever you go through that type of, challenge in your personal life where, okay, well, I made a decision, I identify as the new embodied version of myself. I live as her. I breathe as her. I think as her. I believe as her. I move as her. I feel as her. Everything as her because I am her. Life might come and challenge you. And be like, you sure? You sure? You sure? Prove it. Prove it. Create the receipts. What you gonna choose? What you gonna do in this situation where you can go left or you go right? And left was the former version of you, or former beliefs, former ways of thinking, like, thought patterns, behaviors, etc. Or are you going to move through this situation as a new embodied version of yourself? What are you going to do? And the same way that I perceive it for myself, I offer this to you. This, if ever you're going through this, it is your opportunity to really cement, crystallize, anchor yourself, root yourself into the new embodied version of yourself. Like you have to make that decision as her. And the more we do that, and not just in the little things when everything's going good, but in the major things when it's like, oh shit, I'm at a major crossroads. I have to take a major executive decision like for my life that will affect a few things in my life, right? It's in those moments where the more you choose, you move, you decide as her, that it will switch, it will shift like your subconscious beliefs about yourself, because now it's like, yo, when it comes to something major, she made a completely different decision. Oh shit, she meant that shit. We are her. We are that version, you know, that new embodied self. We are her. And so, yeah, that's what I got for you today. Okay, so as you can see, I'm just in cozy mode. I didn't even try to get cute or extra cute because, you know, I'm still, come on now. It doesn't matter what I'm wearing. It doesn't matter what you're wearing neither, sister, okay? Beautiful is a state of being, okay? But all this to say that I was like, let me just sit down with the camera and share what I'm going through at this very moment, like what's happening at this very moment, because I don't know, maybe it could help you out. You know, it could help you, you know, reflect on how you're going to make a decision, a major decision in your life if you find yourself at that type of crossroad. Or maybe it'll just like, again, in French, we say mettre la puce à l'oreille. It can just, you know, put the idea, plant a seed in your thought, in your mind that, oh, okay, you know, maybe next time I find myself in this type of situation, how am I going to choose? You know, from where within myself am I going to choose? From the former version or from the new embodied version, you know? And because I don't know if I could say I mastered it when it comes to like the low tier level bullshit that, you know, life can present. But I'm high up there. Okay. I'm way past intermediate. I'm at advanced level. Okay. I see myself definitely at university. I'm, you know, doctorate level of finding my center and staying grounded when it comes to like the low tier bullshit, okay? Even mid tier, I'm like, oh, I'm pretty high up there. You know what I'm saying? Like and not only have I noticed that within myself, but other people have noticed too, because something happened which is related to everything going on right now, but like a major moment happened. Two major moments. The first one I was experiencing by myself. The second one I experienced with two friends with me while I was in Hawaii. And my homegirl was there because they're a couple, right? My two friends. So my homegirl told me a couple of days after the thing happened, she was like, yo, I gotta tell you, Carol, I was amazed at how you handled the situation. I would have freaked out personally. She told me herself, she's like, yo, I wouldn't be as calm as you were. I was honestly like, while everything was happening, and it's nothing, mind you, it's nothing like, oh my God, major, you know, but it was still something that's like, oh shit, we got to deal with this. But she said, while we were on our way, you know, to get to the place to do the things, whatever, she was like thinking, damn, how is Carol so calm and cool and collected? And, you know, she can even crack a few jokes with us and da. She was amazed at how I stayed completely centered. And I know that of myself because I've put that into practice a lot. And this will be part of the practices that I will share. Soon come. I will let you know. Soon come. By the end of the week, you know, it shall be done. Okay. And I will be able to share with you, you know, a different space where I will just share the practices and all that. But that's why to me, I don't know if I'm going off on a tangent here, but this is why to me, yoga is not just what's going on a mat and doing postures. I don't give a shit. I don't give a fuck if you can put your body in a pretzel type form, okay? In moments of high levels of stress, how are you in those moments? Are you like, ah, you know, or are you more like cool, calm, and centered, grounded? And I'm not saying you're not going to experience stress. I still experience stress. But how do you manage it? How do you deal with it? You know, this is a path. Yoga is a path of self-mastery And along this path of self-mastery, you get to the point of self-realization. I'll talk about all that in a different video. But this is the where I stand when it comes to yoga and what it is. Okay, I don't give a shit about you being able to like fold your body in 25 different folds. Okay, I don't care. Because you could do that, cool. Maybe you have a form of like self-mastery when it comes to your physical body and how you can place it. But what about mastery of the mind, of the spirit, of your heart, of your behavior, of your habits, of yourself beyond just being the body? You know what I mean? So when she told me that, I was like, okay, yeah. I was like, I don't need external validation, but it just reminded me that, oh, Carol, you know, you're far on your journey from where you started to where you're at now. Because like I said, where I started to intentionally practice yoga and pranayama saved me from, you know, doing a lot of this to a lot of people that I was like, y'all deserve it. And feeling so much anger in my body, so much disappointment and sadness. And, you know, I was hurting myself. I was hurting myself on the inside, even though I felt like I was justified to feel the ways that I felt. But at the end of the day, it's like, you're hurting you, Carol. You're not hurting them. You're hurting yourself. You're the one walking around with all this anger in your body. You know what I'm saying? So pranayama helped me heal that. It wasn't overnight, but it definitely helped me like heal that. And so today I'm at a certain level where along the journey over the past, like, you know, 10, 15, 20 years, whatever, now I'm at a different level of it, right? Because I kept up with the practices and added on other things and, you know, integrated new teachings and all that. And today it's like, it's brought me where I am, and which is what I intend on teaching you or offering you, sharing with you, you know? It's things that help me stay centered. Practices that help me stay grounded. Practices that allow me to create space to have, you know, emotional moments, you know, like, you know, if I'm stressed, if I'm a moment of anger or sadness or whatever, fear, but all this within a certain container where, okay, this is a nice space for you. Kind of like, you know, a child with their mama, you know, and if the child is like having a moment, like I see that with my best friend, because I live with my best friend and my niece. And my niece is 6 years old. So of course she's a kid, you know, she's gonna have emotional outbursts about something. And I see how, you know, my bestie is like, you know, consoling her. Like if the kid is crying, okay, well, I'll allow her to cry because she can have some candy and chocolate. You know, it's just after Halloween, so she couldn't have candy or chocolate once she got home from school because she got to have her dinner first and she'll have the chocolate and the candy after. But she, in her young mind, she's like, oh my God, I can't have the chocolate now. And she's crying, da, da, da. And my friend just offers her a space to like cry. It's like, okay, let it out. And then she talks to her, you know, she offers her this container. It's like, okay, listen, mommy explained to you why, you know, you can have the chocolate and the candy right now. Da 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 da. You know, she explains it to her after my niece had like a major moment of crying. You know, she let that first wave pass. She spoke to her, held her, and then it's like, all right, now we move on. You know, it is what it is. And it's kind of like the same principle. It's like we have to offer ourselves the same thing, you know, and that's what I practice with myself. Is if I have a strong emotion about something, I offer myself that container of like, okay, feel the strong emotion. If you gotta scream, if you gotta be like, oh, fuck, you know, go ahead. If you want to scream at a wall, you know, I don't know, you want to grab, you know, a shirt and throw it, whatever, you know, nothing that will harm myself or harm others. But, you know, okay, you have a strong emotion, let it out. You need to cry, have a cry. And then after that, it's like, all right, let's talk about it. And I will talk about it with me, you know, like, I'm like, all right, Carol, like, here's what's going on, da, da, da. I comfort myself and hold myself. It's like, it's okay. All right, we take it one thing at a time. And then, okay, what are the solutions? What can we do moving forward? Okay. And I bring myself back to center in that way, right? Yoga plus, you know, different things, spiritual teachings that I've accumulated and practiced along the years and integrated that really work and resonate with me. Have helped me reach this new level of mastery. And I'm not done on the journey, but I see how I've evolved, right? So right now, that's what I'm putting into practice. While my new embodied self knows like, yo, we're following the heart, we're going this way. I know that I'm going through this inner turmoil where, you know, old beliefs are like, wait. But listen, if we want a sure thing, we go this way, because if we go that way, we're not sure, we don't know. It's scary. What could happen? Oh my God, da 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 da. Offer that aspect of myself a little space, like, okay, go ahead, speak your piece. And then, you know, bring it back together, be like, okay, I understand, I heard you, I acknowledge what you said. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and your concerns. But now we are in a position where the new embodied version of myself is leading. So we're going to trust her and we're going to have faith. Last time we took a major leap of faith, look what happened. Amazingness. Amazingness. You did things you only dreamed of before, and now you really lived them. So what's to say that this time around, if we follow our intuition and we make the moves as the new embodied version of ourselves, why suddenly you're freaking out as if she's going to lead us over a cliff? And even if she does, trust me, there's a net, or we're going to grow wings. Because no matter what, our intuition has never failed us. And every time I evolve and I expand my consciousness, my awareness, and explore new, you know, versions or variations of myself, it's like things only get, you know, better. Or we explore things that it's like, yo, wow, I never thought, you know, I could see it in my mind's eye. I could dream about it, but now it's like, oh, wow, it's in the 3D. I'm actually experiencing it. I can touch it with my hands type thing, you know? So why suddenly we don't trust this about ourselves anymore? So thank you for your concern, but we're going in this direction. So, but still, like I said, right now I'm in a space where I'm allowing the old shit to like speak its piece, and not, you know, sometimes it gets loud, but I've learned and you know, I put into practice certain tools, certain techniques to offer that container for that aspect of myself to, you know, do its thing, freak out, and and defend its points and its arguments. Even though deep down inside, I know exactly what I'm gonna do. It's just, it's scary. It's scary, but I've done scarier things. And as the new embodied version of myself, I'm also very much aware in the knowing and anchored in the fact that everything's going to work out. And maybe I don't know exactly how, all the little details, but I just know it will. So I'm in the end. I'm already in the wish fulfilled. I'm already in the end, living in the end, that it's already all worked out beautifully, easefully, and swiftly. So everything in between then, sure, it's scary because you don't know. Walking through that forest in the middle of the night with no flashlight, only with your inner light. Sure. But you know you're going to make it to that destination point regardless. So just rest in that knowing. See, I just said all that and I already feel better. Oh, I guess this video was for me. I just needed to feel like I was talking to somebody, but I was talking to myself. No, I'm playing. I'm sharing this with you, like I said, intending that it also resonates, this message resonates with you and helps you if and when you find yourself in, you know, at crossroads in your life, or in moments where you're like, shit, what am I going to do? Are you going to move as the former version of yourself, or beliefs that, you know, come along with her, or as a new embodied version of yourself, where chances are you're going to have to take leaps of faith because you haven't been that version before. So you're going to make moves that you haven't done before. So you don't exactly know what's going to happen. You just have to have faith. It's a leap of faith. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. All right. So on that note, I'm going to let you go. This video is long enough, but I pray you receive this message with open heart, open mind, open spirit, and that you catch a few gems from it. And if anything, please leave comments in the comment section. Let's have a conversation about it. I am so grateful for you if you've watched all the way to the end, and I will see you in the next video. Maybe you'll get an update on all of this, but right now, walk in faith. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna walk in faith. I'm gonna go do the things that I got to do. I'm gonna tend to my garden, and in the knowing that everything has worked out, and that even if I'm scared while taking that leap of faith, I might as well do it scared. Because either way, everything always works out. So it's all good. All right? All right. I'll see you in the next video. Have yourself an amazing, extraordinary day. Thank you for watching. Peace.